Over the past few days I've sunk quite a few hours into the Uncharted 4 beta, and there are times where it feels really fun. The animations, frame rate and traversal speed are all fantastic, and the grappling hook takedowns and revives are perfect progressions to the gameplay we already know and love. I'm also impressed with how quickly Naughty Dog has issued patches and updates regarding feedback so far. After the 1.04 patch, the aiming feels very solid now. And while I'd still love to see gyroscope-assisted aiming like in Golden Abyss, I'm happy with the core elements. Unfortunately, in their current state, Sidekicks and to a lesser extent Mysticals mess with my enjoyment of the game, especially when abused by semi-coordinated teams. The frequency in which they appear can be relentless, with multiple idols or brutes or hunters appearing at once, adding huge amounts of chaos to a match. I don't play online games to fight AIs, and I certainly don't expect them to play for me. I've never heard of anyone who enjoyed fighting the brutes or djinns in the single player, and yet here they are, cheaply accessible and more annoying than ever. The inclusion of supernatural elements themselves isn't a problem, it's more how often they appear, for how long, and how much they interfere with player versus player combat. Considering this may very well be the last Uncharted game, I want to play it for as long as possible, and that could be difficult when things like this are already a hassle. Now you might be thinking I'm complaining over nothing, that it could all be fixed with a separate hardcore or classic mode playlist. And maybe it could, but I don't want to be boxed into a less populated mode. Less players means less options, more lag, and decreased longevity. So ideally it would be nice to stay in the main pool of players. With some tweaks I can live with Mysticals, but Sidekicks could do with some more drastic changes. I can't ask for them to be removed completely because that's such an unrealistic request. I'd just like them to be executed differently with a less is more approach. One alternative that sprang to mind is removing them as loadout items and instead placing them as timed pickups on the centre of the map, similar to power weapons. This way they aren't spammed all at once and don't become too overbearing. Another possible solution is once again removing them from loadouts and instead awarding sidekicks to players who die multiple times in a row without a kill. Let's say 3, 4, 5 deaths. Who knows, perhaps it's already been tested in-house. After all, I'm not a video game designer, I'm just a fan of the series who's played enough to know what I like and dislike about it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed what you've played so far, and if you haven't, visit the Uncharted 4 multiplayer beta forums and give your feedback there. Thanks for listening.